At least 20 ethnic Armenian refugees fleeing Nagorno-Karabakh were killed and 300 injured after an explosion at a petrol station. Security has been tightened in northern Kosovo after a policeman was killed in an ambush by up to 30 heavily armed ethnic Serbs.
UN-backed human rights experts say they found evidence of war crimes committed by Russian forces in Ukraine, including torture that led to death.
A plume of smoke after a powerful blast rocked the mountainous Nagorno-Karabakh region on Monday evening. The explosion was at a petrol station and reportedly killed at least 20 people, injuring 300 more. They'd been queuing to refuel their cars as they fled the breakaway territory. Thousands of ethnic Armenians have decided to leave, fearing ethnic cleansing despite reassurances from Azerbaijan after it reimposed its military control of Nagorno-Karabakh. More than 13,350 people have so far crossed into Armenia from the enclave, which was home to a majority of some 120,000 ethnic Armenians.
Трехэтажная квартира оставил. Там свиньи были, там куры были, все были, все.
Meanwhile, Armenians in their capital Yerevan continue to demonstrate against what they see as their government's failure to protect and support the Armenian population in the enclave. The recent military offensive launched by Azerbaijan ended in the surrender of administrative officials and separatists in Nagorno-Karabakh. Security has been tightened in the north of Kosovo, where most of its ethnic Serb minority lives in 4 municipalities around Mitrovica. It follows the killing of a Kosovo police officer in an ambush at the weekend. After the attack, heavily armed gunmen fled to a monastery, where 3 of them were killed in a standoff with Kosovo forces. Weapons seized from the monastery siege were put on display hours after the standoff ended. They included guns, mines, grenades and even a missile launcher, implying the operation had been well prepared. The Kosovo government released drone video showing a group of gunmen, said to be around 30 of them, at the Serbian Orthodox monastery in Kosovo on Sunday. It's not clear who they were or who was supporting them. Pristina accuses Belgrade of involvement, an accusation Serbia denies, saying they're Serbs from Kosovo. But the confrontation, one of the worst incidents between the two wartime foes since Kosovo declared independence from Serbia in 2008, comes after months of EU-led efforts to normalise ties between Serbia and its former province.
A team of UN experts say they're continuing to uncover evidence of war crimes by Russian forces in Ukraine. Reporting to the World Body's Human Rights Council in Geneva, the panel said the crimes included torture, sexual violence, and the deliberate targeting of civilian areas. There was testimony of crimes committed by both sides, they said, but vastly more attributed to Russian forces.
We deplore that attacks by Russian armed forces harming civilian and medical facilities, which have protected status, continue to take place. The Commission also deplores the fact that conflict-related sexual violence continues to take place in violation of international humanitarian law and human rights.
The panel also outlined allegations of genocide and that Russian media may have had a role in inciting these crimes.
What we did say in the oral update is that we are concerned about the allegations of genocide and that we are looking further into these issues. And in connection with that, we also mentioned that one aspect of this may be the question of incitement, which comes from certain Russian media.
Moscow was not represented as the commissioners submitted their findings. Last year, the UN General Assembly rejected Russia from the 47-member body in response to its invasion of Ukraine.
EU member states have reached an agreement that would see the bloc's latest vehicle emissions regulation seriously watered down. Known as Euro 7, the standards compel car makers to reduce the carbon dioxide they emit in order to fight climate change and improve air quality. EU competitive ministers agreed in Brussels on Monday to a proposal presented by the Spanish EU presidency that essentially sees them bowing to lobbying by the car industry. Countries with big car industries like France, Italy and the Czech Republic were just some of the member states pushing the Council in this direction.
I have a good feeling that it is going in the good direction. As I said, we as one of the leaders of the like-minded group, we are aware about the importance of the automotive industry, not only for the European economy, but for the Czech industry. Mainly 10% of the total GDP, more than 20% of the total exports. So we have to be aware about the impact.
The decision by the Council differs significantly from the proposal put forward by the European Commission last November, which aimed to cut gas emissions significantly to reach some of the strictest standards ever. But European car makers campaigned against the move, saying it would mean additional costs for them and for consumers as well. Environmental groups are rejecting the Council's decision.
Unfortunately, the Council's position is incredibly disappointing when it comes to these standards. Euro 7 was an opportunity to reduce the 70,000 deaths that are caused by road transport pollution every year. And unfortunately for cars, the Council is not improving the limits at all versus Euro 6, which basically means we'll have the same cars, just disguised and greenwashed as Euro 7.
One win is on the emission standards for trucks, which will be slightly lower than before. The Euro 7 car emission standards is expected to come into force in 2025, but before that, EU member states must reach an agreement with the European Parliament on a common proposal.
Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban says his country was deceived by the European Union when they agreed to transport grain out of Ukraine through Hungary after shipments across the Black Sea were blocked by the war. Orban argued that his government opened a solidarity corridor so that Ukraine could transport food to countries in Africa, but that those shipments had instead been sold inside Hungary for lower prices.
Mondjuk ki egyenesen, becsaptak bennünket. Az ukrán gabonát nem vitték tovább Afrikába, hanem itt értékesítik Magyarországon, a magyar gazdák gabonájánál olcsóbban, a hazait kiszorítva a saját piacunkról. Lengyelországgal, Szlovákiával együtt behozatali tilalmat rendeltünk el Ukrajnából 23 mezőgazdasági termék esetében.
The comments come just days after Ukraine filed a complaint at the World Trade Organization against Hungary, Poland, and Slovakia for banning imports of Ukrainian farm products.
The 67th IAEA General Conference is being held from the 25th to the 29th of September in Vienna. On top of the agenda is a draft resolution on nuclear safety, nuclear security and safeguards in Ukraine. When on day one, Rafael Grossi was reappointed for a second four-year term as Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, the situation at Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant was a major concern.
In the past year, 10 rotations of IAEA safety experts have crossed the front lines of war to access the plant. And we continue our work there, as you can see through our almost daily updates of the situation at the plant, which remains very, very fragile.
Grossi says that the presence of IAEA experts at the Zaporizhzhia plant is crucial. They help stabilize the situation and keep the world informed about the plant. They have also provided an ongoing assistance, including facilitating international financial support and information sharing. The Director General also called on Iran to cooperate with the nuclear agency.
On this and on matters related to the de facto suspended implementation of the JCPOA, the IAEA and I personally remain actively engaged and ready to work with Iran. Only full cooperation by Iran and tangible results will take us to the credible assurances that Iran's nuclear program is exclusively peaceful.
Representatives of the IAEA 77 member states are attending the event where delegates will discuss topics from the 2024 budget to strengthening nuclear science, technology and energy security. British police have received fresh allegations of sexual assault against actor and comedian Russell Brand. They are said to be of a non-recent nature. The 48-year-old has been accused of rape, assault and emotional abuse between 2006 and 2013. Brand has previously strongly denied all accusations made by 4 women in an investigation reported in the UK media. Before the allegations were published, Brand said his relationships had always been consensual.
The actor David McCallum, known for his role as Ilya Kuryakin in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., has died aged 90. McCallum became a teen heartthrob in the hit spy series in the 1960s. And then, 40 years later, he played an eccentric medical examiner in the popular television show NCIS. Described by his son Peter as a true Renaissance man, the Scottish-born actor died in New York of natural causes.